Before I got back just after 6, I sat down, looked at the charts. I figured we'd start after the first 30-minute candle, and that's what I'm going to do. So I got to do my typical week down preparation. We do have a shortened day tomorrow for President's Day, if you weren't aware already. Let's, oops. So I marked the weekly high and low. I'm going to zoom into the daily. It's all continuation, so it's not really great. This is the day and week high, right? This is the daily low. There is nothing on the 60. It's just continuation. Where'd the 60 go? I don't really care about that right now. Or the 4 hour. It's just continuation. There's really nothing here to trade. It's gonna take a minute for something to set up. So we just had a 30-minute flip, but we went outside 30. And this might be one of those times I need to scout around for something else. Look at metals, look at oil, check out platinum, copper. Probably would have been better really to wait for the next 30-minute candle to print. So in 30 minutes, jump on when we get the new hourly flip. But I'm going to be sitting here anyway looking at charts at least for a little bit. And I figured just hop on here and kind of vent, distract myself from the jerk off who just, reposted my trade plan as his own. I don't want to have to like watermark stuff, put my at Twitter or at X handle on there, but maybe in the future. You guys have a nice weekend. Enjoy taking time off. You're gonna trade tonight, tomorrow. What's your game plan? I'm thinking about going back here and looking at President's Day last year and seeing what the volume looked like. Give me an idea of whether it's going to be a slow day or it could get interesting. See if I can find a browser here on my other screen. There we go. So, President's Day 2024. It's February 19th. Is it always? No, it can't be. Today's the 16th, so tomorrow will be the 17th. So let's see what the market was doing on February 19th, 2024. Let's go look at, let's just pull up the daily chart. February 19th. Oof. 81 point range. Well, is that right? Yeah, I think the low to this high. 81 points of range. That's not great. Let's see when it was in 2023. February 20th. 2023. February 20th. Also looks like trash. 71 point, even less. Let's go back one more year. 22. February 21st. 2022. I am getting notifications. February 21st. Here we go. See the high to the low. Wait, that's January. February. February 21st. All right, this looks. Is that right? Monday, February 21st. It's 22. Yep. 441 points from the high to the low. So, I mean, based on that quick little, non-scientific analysis, I don't really know. I'm leaning on it's going to be kind of a slow trading session, but we will see. There is evidence that it has moved in the past, but I'm not going to go back and do a whole, 10-year kind of analysis. I'm sure there's a site out there that offers those numbers. Yeah, stock market is so we don't have like the pump at 4 a.m. that we usually do pre-market, which kind of helps out futures. Hold on one second, guys. I don't know what I got a barrage of messages here. All right, let me just mute my phone. Do not disturb. To check in with those later. I was discussing some the post with somebody on Twitter because they retweeted my trade plan and they were criticizing it, which is fine. Like I don't really care about that. But I pointed out that it was mine. I think the guy probably felt bad. It's all closed. Matt from Rocket Scooter, he's a good dude. And I told him I don't feel upset about it. Like he said I should have things like RR and the trade setups and all that. And I explained to him that I've been trading the strat now for 3 years. I don't need any of that, right? The strat I've got burned into my head. The biggest problem for me is psychology, trading psychology, right? Reminding myself not to be greedy, to take profits, to take breaks, to lock in quick gains, avoiding inside bars. That's strat related. Entering early on actionable signals, right? So for me, it's a summary. I don't need to say I'm gonna enter on 2-1-2s or 1-2-2, 1-2 down green hammer rev strats or 1-2 up red shooter rev strats or whatever, right? That part for me is I'm mostly focused on inside bar breaks, rev strats, 2 down green hammers, 2 up red shooters, even just 2 down green, 2 up red, and we know what our targets are. So I don't really need any of that. I can see where he makes a good point for anybody who's new at trading the strat. You're gonna want more info. This is an evolved strategy over 4 years of trading, or a trade plan that I put together, and it's what matters to me today. Right? It doesn't. I used to use post-it notes on my desk and would explain. I had everything written down. The setups I was looking for, what an inside bar was, what an outside bar was, because I was learning. I was not familiar at all, or not to the degree I am today, with how to trade that strategy. So it was more important back then to have some of those things. But I enjoy, the discussion conversation. I just want credit for anything that I put out there on the internet, right? Helps me get followers, helps bring people to this channel. Whatever. If I put stuff out there, I would prefer people just retweet it, not pretend like they made it up themselves. It's kind of annoying, especially when people see it and point it out to me. It just gets me fired up. So, anyway, trying to let that go is what it is. There are just some asshole kind of people on the internet. And what I'll probably do is just block that guy from following. That's what I'm gonna do. So nothing really going on here in NQ. Did have a gap up open, closed the gap, and now we are just kind of chopping around sideways. I'm going to take a peek at some other instruments. Oil selling off a bit here. Oil has been getting punished. Since it hit 80, 77. It's just been a grind down, some corrective bounces. But let's look bigger picture. That's kind of what matters most to start the week. Let's see where we are in the monthly. So monthly shooter in force on oil. Kind of good to know about, right? Double inside bar, shooter, rev strat, reversal. Potentially coming back down here to 66, 66s. 11 days to do it. We've got time frame continuity to the downside, and we've got an outside bar here on the weekly that we attempted to break last week, and we are breaking again. So we got potential expansion outside of this range. Get the outside bar here. We break the lows, even though it didn't get going on this candle. It looks like it was probably stuck inside for most of the week, and then took out the low of this outside bar, and now we are making a run for it again. So we're going to keep an eye on CL for shorts because we have monthly magnitude. GC pullback after hitting all-time high, new all-time high. Inside week, stuck in the middle of the month. So not a lot to kind of go after here on gold. Silver had a ridiculous day. Looks like it gave a bunch of it back though. I think it took out its monthly target and some. Make sure this mic is still working. Okay. Um, yeah, when I checked silver on Friday, it was up like 4%, 4+%. But it looks like it gave it all back. So I'm not really sure what to say about this chart. There's, we got a failed two up. It's not a shooter, but shooter like kind of candle. But it looks like it already hit daily magnitude. Like if you were looking for a short on this, right, we'd be kind of targeting down here, and we already got that. I already hit this. So silver is kind of off my list. How much with gold? Let's take a look at some of the stuff I don't look at as often anymore. Things like platinum. Inside week, failed two up on the month. Inside day, don't really like that chart. Copper has been interesting. Had two strong weeks back to back, but now we're stuck inside week in the, I wouldn't say the middle of the month, but gave back a good chunk. Gave back like 4%. Nothing on the daily. See what Bitcoin is up to. Bitcoin has just been chopping around here. Inside month. You can see on the week we've been stuck in this broadening formation kind of thing going on. Right, we're like smack dab in the middle of it. So as long as we stay above this kind of low here at, call it 90K, 89.5, I hope we can push higher. Still holding my IBIT position. Hasn't been a lot going on in Bitcoin, but some of the alts have pulled back significantly, and Bitcoin is holding up relatively well. So that's a positive sign so far. Natural gas inside month, inside week. Bit of corrective activity on the day. We took out Friday's low. Looks like with a little small gap down, filled the gap. Take a look at ES. Inside month near the highs. Inside week, inside day. Don't like it. RTY inside month, inside week, but we've got this outside bar, inside bar, so 3-1. If we break the highs, we'd be looking long, back up towards the top. If we break the lows, be looking down here. We would flip the month and quarter red. So we would have time frame continuity to the downside if we break the low. We've got continuity to the upside if we break the highs. So somebody sent me a private message on Discord and asked me to take a look at this chart, and that's pretty much what I told them. Bullish over last week's highs, bearish under last week's lows. But on the daily here, we do have a potential rev strat shooter. 2 up, red candle. So if we break this low, we would kind of target down here and down here. Right, and you can see we've got the month and quarter over here on the right. Right, these green lines, one line, one line. My drawing skills need work, but yeah, you can see these 2 green lines here. That's the monthly and quarterly open. So if we flip these, bearish underneath, we're bullish over. But there's not a whole lot here to like for me personally on any of these charts. Like I'm struggling to find anything that's worth taking a shot at right now. YM's been pretty chippity choppity. Inside week last week, opening inside week, inside month. So we will have to see what happens here. Zoom in a bit. Maybe we get a little short-term exhaustion reversal on CL. We did take out a number of lows here. We didn't get down to like these lows would be, kind of ideal, but we did take out this recent stuff. These lows and these lows here. We are reclaiming this outside bar. So we've got a little broadening formation here to pay attention to. Maybe we get back up. Whoops, maybe we get back up here. Just going to be patient because if tomorrow is not going to be a great day, or I don't see any evidence of movement tonight, then I am just not going to take any trades. Just not going to trade. I kept my losers small on Friday. I wasn't going to trade. I made an attempt on a 4-hour. Let's see. I'll pull it up here. So I wanted this 2 down green hammer up. Right, I wanted this trade targeting new highs, which we got, but getting there was really, really difficult. We look, kind of zoom in here. This is what was going on. We were breaking, going out of force, breaking, going out of force, in force, out of force, chop, chop, chop. After the open is over here. I just wanted this to trigger and go. Eventually got up to, got made new highs, hit target, but this was just really messy. Right, all this price action here is pretty gross. So I made one or two attempts, maybe two attempts, I think, and then I just cut myself off before I hit daily loss limit. I was down 200 bucks in 3 XFAs. One, I was down 80 from the overnight session, and I just said that's enough, right? No need for me to hit my max daily loss of 350. I'm just going to shut it down today. I don't like trading Fridays to begin with. My first trade, I think I was down 65 and told myself like that was it. And then I made one more attempt and I got snookered. So I just said, all right, I'm done with this. So happy that I walked away before hitting, you know, daily loss limit. Wasn't quite as, should have walked away earlier, but progress, not perfection, right? I saved myself about 150 times, three accounts. So 450, 450 more than I walked away with in the red. Walked away 600, could have been over 1,000. So I got to look at that as like, okay, you didn't have the itch to continue trading and force things that just aren't there, and like have this mindset of need to make money. Like I want to make money, but if the market isn't cooperating, I gotta walk away. Very easy for me to get irritated at the market and angry, because the market's not doing what I want or what I expect. And then, I get into this kind of revenge trading mindset, going to teach the market a lesson, which is not where you want to be as a trader. You don't want to feel compelled to trade or like you need to do anything, right? Most of the time, we're just kind of sitting here waiting. And if something good doesn't show up, that's it. Like it doesn't show up. What's that? Beef, I think. I got usernames chopped off here. I don't know why. Discord turns on streaming mode, which it thinks is helpful. It doesn't. It turns beef into B dot dot dot. In a gold long. Let's take a look. Let's peek back at gold. Would have been a much bigger fan if we had taken out this pivot over here, but let's see, like let's look on the 15, the 30, the 60. This should be the 4 hour. I gotta clear up some lines here on these charts. Yeah, I mean, I can see making it into. I don't like the outside 4 hour. Like for me, I'd have to wait, but I can see wanting to get in this, try and front run it a little bit. Would have been for me. It would have definitely been a long if we had taken out this low here. Just stop those people out, and then kind of keep grinding higher. Now we got inside 60 that I just hate, or inside 30, outside 60. But I hope that works for you. I think gold is going to continue to stay strong, but wouldn't be surprising if we get some sort of corrective activity. It has been on a rampage here for 42 days. Well, yeah, hope you catch the reversal there on that one. NQ on the 15, trigger the inside bar up, but I don't like fighting against the hour and 4 hour continuity. We get an hourly flip here in 4 minutes 20 seconds, so maybe if we take this inside 30 high, I could get on board with making an attempt at a long. Get my trading view charts back up here. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen this inside bar up a little sooner on the 15. I mean, still 30 inside, and I don't like trading against the hour and 4 hour, but I do think the market is headed towards all-time highs. Barring any craziness, or Trump saying something that sends the market into a tizzy. Like it's definitely looking like it wants to go there. We get the month in force to the upside, and we are not that far away at all. Less than 1%. So let's see what happens on this flip, and I'll decide how long I'm going to stick around. If I'm going to take a trade, then I'm going to hang out for a minute. If it's looking like it's going to be kind of dull and boring, I'm not going to waste your time or my time. And believe me, I want to sit here and take a trade as bad as anybody. I can assure you. I want to be, you got to be in it to win it, but you got to know when to take your foot off the gas a little bit and just dial it back and say, these aren't ideal trading conditions. A lot of continuation, failed two up on the 4 hour, the 12 hour, the day, the week. All of those can turn around very quickly, though. All we got to do is get back. If we get back towards the high of the day, which we may do on this 30 flip, right? We got a 3 inside bar, 3 1, 2 up, flip the day, the week, and start charging higher. That would have my attention. But I don't know how to describe it other than the charts sometimes scream at me like to be long. And I recorded a video. I finally finished editing. I'm gonna post it. I'll post it in Discord and on Twitter and on my YouTube about this daily setup here and why I feel like I did not capitalize like I should have. We had this rev strat, right? This two down green hammer. This is what I look for, right? And we have not had a good daily setup for a while. It's been a lot of kind of garbage, sideways, choppiness, and I give multiple examples of me pointing out 968 and 22K, which was this high, 968, 22K up here. We got more than that. We actually triggered the week and hit weekly magnitude. But that chart screamed at me to get long. Like, take this trade. This trade is going to work out. It's going to be great. You got to be in this trade. And I was in the trade. I just stopped out on a little bit of a pullback and then was distracted in Discord and didn't get back in. I wasn't focused on my trading. So I think I'm done fully editing. I need to do one more review. It's only about 6 or 7 minutes, but it did take a lot of time to edit. I had to record it twice because for whatever reason the app like crashed at the very end when I tried to save it the first time. So I was kind of frustrated, and so it's you know, I like having to repeat myself. So I just need to give it another quick review. And I haven't done a trade video. I get a lot of private messages from people who encourage me to put them out more. So this was like a great example of an amazing trade that I didn't capitalize on, and I talk about why and what I would do differently. And that's all trading is. We look at setups, we try and recognize patterns that are happening over and over in the markets, and then we enter, we manage our risk, and we just hope that they get to targets. And then afterwards, you hopefully do some kind of review about how that trade went, what you could do different, how you could have made more, got more out of the trade, so that next time you hopefully improve and trade it a little differently. That's life in a nutshell. You try something, you make mistakes, you learn from failures, you adapt, you keep grinding. So I'm gonna mark. This is the 30-minute chart, I think. I'm gonna mark the 30 high. I'm really on the 60 or 4 hour here, inside 60, which is really a no trade zone for me. But I might take one small shot at this 30 inside up. Actually, gonna make a small entry attempt off this little hammer here, hoping that we trigger the 30 up, and I've got a better entry here. So I like this bit of corrective activity. Risk is super tiny, very small. Might need to widen this a little bit actually. But I want to see this go and trigger the 30 as quickly as possible. This will also give me an opportunity to add to this if we get the inside 30 up. But this is not a high confidence trade because we're red on the 4 hour, the 12 hour, the day, the week. But we have the potential to flip those above 224 and get things moving back in the direction of higher time frame continuity. So we got the year, the quarter, the month, our green. We've got the day and the week just overhead. So if I'm going to take any trade right now, I kind of like this one. check how big this range is so far. So 41 and a quarter points we've moved from the opening high to the low, which isn't great. It's not as bad as it could be, but could go outside 15, which I will be cautious of because we know those outside bars can get whippy. 30-minute trigger will be a 15-minute outside bar. So just need to be cautious of that. Smaller time frame targets are higher time frame triggers. So we can run into short-term potential exhaustion risk because we're hitting targets on smaller time frames. We might get little pullbacks and then re-triggers. Just something to be aware of. See right here, we're close to going outside bar, which is this. If we smash these two candles together, the high, the low, this is an inside bar. So if we trigger this, we're going to go outside 15, and that just, I'm just being aware of that. See what happens when this triggers. Looks like it's going to. It's trying to. This is really the only kind of setup I see right now, and I'm not a huge fan because of the inside hour, and again, we're trading against 4 hour higher time frame continuity. But the actual higher time frames, the month, the quarter, the year are green. So I'm hoping that we get the day and week moving in that direction too. So there's a trigger. Wanted to add, but just kind of went without me. A little bit of a pullback. I'll get into a larger position size if I get a chance. It's kind of nice to see. Tighten on my stop a little bit. Don't want to see price coming back to my entry, basically. Wait, why is the day and week? What's going on here? My charts look like they're off a bit. Oh, that's last week's high. That's all good. I've mentioned on the stream before, if you're looking for somebody who's in like 15 minis or 5 minis or whatever, that's not me. I start with 3 micro starters. I add and scale up to about 2 minis if the trade is good and makes sense. But if you're trying to learn the strat, I think it's a good, real time, an opportunity to watch somebody who's just been trading the strat for a minute trade in real time, and how I manage stops and where I take profit, how I scale in. I think there's a whole lot of that out there. And for me, it was the one thing I always wished that I saw from somebody else who'd been trading for a while. Like, okay, I get these setups, but like, where are we putting the stops? Where are we scaling out? Where are we adding to positions? So, like, a good day for me is 500 is kind of on the lower end. I prefer to pull in closer to 1,000, but it depends on the market conditions. So I'm not swinging for the fences. I think the best trade that I've had was scaling into 2 minis for 5,400, where the market just tanked 300 points and I was positioned for downside. So I was able to capitalize on that. But especially to start the week when, I've been snoozing all weekend, haven't been as focused on charts, tried to trade a little crypto, but didn't really do what I wanted. So I like to just dip my toe in the water. It's Sunday. It's a half day tomorrow, or early close. No reason to get super aggressive, especially when everything is continuation. It's just not, picture perfect. Hopefully this 30 trigger holds. Not currently. It's the old outside 15er doing its thing, right? 15-minute outside bar said be cautious because these can get whippy. They'll reverse on you. They'll go from green to red, red to green. And it looks like that's what's happening. Not that it can't keep moving higher, but we just have to be aware of these outside bars. See if this 30 gets back and forth. So we get a 15-minute flip in 30 seconds. Gonna add on this 30 retrigger. my risk very, very small, very tight stops. Just want this 30 to get back in force and stay in force. If it can't and comes back to kind of my entry, then I'd rather just stop out and reevaluate again because it's inside 60, 4 hour, 12-hour day week, red, failed two ups. So we need those to flip. We got to get over ideally the daily and weekly open, which I should probably mark here on this chart. So I think it's going to be somewhere up here. It is 235.75. So that's where we get the day and week continuity flip. So a little bit of work to get up there, but hopefully it happens. Nova in the long. Nice. See if it works. Just want to see that 30-minute inside bar hold. It's marked here on the chart, this 30. As long as that 30 stays in force, we get a shot at new high a day. Just had the flip, so inside 5 and 15-minute candles. Need to get back up over these highs right here. But if not, I'll stop out. Small loss, 30 bucks. No big deal. I know there are some people when they're trading. I was talking in Top Step Discord with someone who said they'll take 50 points of heat on a mini, which is $1,000. I can't do that. I just can't. I would rather, if I'm wrong in the trade, I would rather stop out and then reevaluate. Like, does this trade still make sense? Because what happens if it goes from 50 to now 75, or you just stop out and eat $1,000 loss? That's a big chunk of change on a 50K account. I'd rather just stop out for a small amount. If there's a retriggers, I'll get back in, and then hopefully, at that point, it's pulled back as far as it's going to pull back, and we'll then resume in the direction I'm looking for. So that's just how I trade. That's how I've learned to trade the strat using really tight stops. Do I stop out often-ish? Sure, but the losses are very small, and then when I catch the move, it's good for, usually I'm looking for 30, 40, 50, 100 points, something like that. Depends, during New York, 100 points is no big deal. During overnight, 100 points is kind of asking for a lot. Or you just have to hold longer. You got to be willing to hold for 3, 4 hours. Looked like we were going to get something going there for a minute. Kind of chopping around. We get double inside fivers. Tempted to add again, honestly. Kind of running out of time. I mean, we got 9.5 minutes for this 30 to do its job. See where else I could add, maybe on the red to green flip. If we flip daily weekly continuity, could be a place to potentially add. Or if there's these 5 minute inside bars break bull, maybe I'll add a little bit. I just try and scale in and keep my stop as tight as possible, or break even, or slightly in profit. Like the larger my position size gets, adding 3 more micros does not move my average a whole lot. So when things start to work, I just add a little bit, add a little bit, add a little bit, so that when it gets to its target, I've got a pretty decent sized position. Struggling here. Inside fibers breaking bear. Stop out. And now we do the waiting game. So that's why I like keeping a tight stop. If this starts selling off and pulls back here, I just don't want to be in a position that's going against me. Could I have put a wider stop down here or so? But it's just not my style. I've considered experimenting a little bit with a little bit wider stops, but I would do that on a combine or a practice account. I would not be doing it while copy trading 3 funded accounts. That's not the place to experiment for me. I don't really think anyone should be experimenting in funded accounts. Combines are a little different. I mean, if you can afford the resets, and if you don't mind blowing up a combine and you want some skin in the game, that I can relate to. But for me, I got to treat funded accounts like it's my own money. I got to be very on top of risk management and not messing around with things. Inside 60, just making things a little choppy. Right, we're just stuck in this opening candle range. And for me, that's usually there. I guess there. I don't know. I'm thinking about this out loud. I don't know what makes sense. Um, like I have a rule: don't trade inside 60. But on the 2 minute chart, the we got that this little hammer candle corrective activity. We had an inside 30 that could trigger, and we could potentially, if we got back up near the highs, we would flip daily weekly continuity. We would no longer be an inside bar. So that was kind of my game plan, right? So I think you have to have a little bit of discretion or flexibility when you are trading on some level. I think it's important to have rules that you follow and stick to. And maybe I'm wrong. I mean, maybe I should just be, inside 60, don't trade it at all. Just don't touch it. But I figured the risk was worth the reward, right? The reward would have paid, would have been a nice solid win, and the risk was, I end up down $25, which is just nothing. Right? It's basically flat. And if it worked, it was, potential 30 points out of that trade or more. So it would have been worth it for me. We got a lot of gold longs and oil longs on the tilt for Top Step. Beef still here? You still in that gold long? What's up, French Fishy? How was your weekend? Busy arguing with people in indices? Mine was great. I caught up on sleep, man. I took a Benadryl the other day because my skin sometimes gets itchy, and I was like scratching at my foot with my other foot, and it was all bloody and it was a mess. And so I finally took a Benadryl, which always deals with that. But they knocked me out. They put me in like a coma. So I slept almost all day yesterday, but it felt great. And then today I slept most of the day. I didn't fall asleep last night because my sleep was all screwed up. So I didn't actually like pass out until like maybe 8 a.m. I took my dog out at 7, jumped back in bed, tried to fall asleep, eventually did, and then I didn't get up until like I don't know, 5:45. It's kind of nice not having any big responsibilities like wife, kids, girlfriend. It's just kind of the dog. And I'm visiting families, so they if I'm sleeping, they'll take her out for me, which is kind of great. But it was good. I kind of grind hard during the week. I trade from Globex. I check back in at 10 p.m., sometimes 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. before London Open or London Open. Stay up for an hour or two. Nothing's going on. Knock back out until like 8:30. New York pre-market, especially if there's news. I'll be awake then. Trade till like 11, 12, lunchtime, Eastern. And sometimes I'm done. Sometimes I'll just nap for a couple hours and then check in at like 2 p.m., 3 p.m. power hour. So I don't get like a nice solid like 8, 10 hours of sleep. So the weekend is when I recharge. Yeah, it's it's nice. That's been my weekend kind of routine for a while. Not I don't normally sleep all day, but I have been the last week or two. Sometimes I feel guilty about it, like I should be doing something, but so like this is why I got out. If this didn't go from here, this 30 inside bar up, I didn't really want to just sit in the red while this chops around or pulls back. Like if buyers start to show up, I can always get back in. Like we can always get back in, but once you're in a trade and you're down 200, 300, 400, $500, if it doesn't turn around, man, you're just going to eat it. And for me, that's a trigger. When I'm in the red like that, I don't deal with it very well. I've gotten way better. I'm much better today than I was, a month or 2 or 3 months ago, especially because of risk tools, which I didn't lock yet, but we're going to do that real quick. All of these funded accounts. This has kept me out of trouble. Wish there was an easier way to do this for all of these accounts, but it does only take like 30 seconds and protects me from myself. Keeps me respecting that $350 daily loss limit. I can't adjust it. When I get down to, if I'm my first trade or two or three, I'm down 150 or 200, I start to get really picky about the next trade that I take to try and get back to break even, or, I'll just walk away, or get in the habit of not necessarily hitting daily loss all the time. Like if I take two or three trades or four trades and I'm down like 250, like I don't have to grind it down to 350 just because that's my cutoff, right? I can say, all right, well, you took three, four trades. It's not working, bro. Step away for a while, wait for New York, wait for, or be done with those accounts. Lock them up for the day. Move on to like a backup account or two. All right, guys. There's really nothing here that I like. I was looking for the 30-minute inside bar to break bull. It did. It just didn't get up to daily, weekly open and flip time frame continuity. So I'm gonna check back probably on this hourly flip because we got an inside hour. All right, this inside hour, and I'll be curious to see which direction we break this. Again, we are red on the 4 hour, the 12 hour, the day of the week. So, in my opinion, Bears have the upper hand, not by a whole lot. Things can change quickly, especially, an hour and a half into the trading session. But that's about it. There's nothing really to go after here. Figured I'd give it a shot on what I thought was like the best entry or setup at the time. And now there's just not really, not much going on here. So I'm going to cut it. I'm going to get some food, hang out for a little bit, check back in about 30 minutes on the flip, 26 minutes. And if there's nothing there, pop back in at 10 p.m. Eastern when we get the new 4 hour candle. See what that does. See if there's an opportunity there. But I appreciate everybody stopping by. Hope you guys have a great week. Hope you had a great weekend. And take care. See you next time.